Welcome to Vandée Radio. Today I'm joined by Dr. E. Michael Jones. Dr. Jones, it is an honour to have you back on the programme.
Thank you. Thank you. Good to be back.
Dr. Jones is an author, he's a historian, a lecturer, a journalist, and he's written books including Barren Metal, Libido Dominandi, Degenerate Moderns, and Logos Rising, A History of Ultimate Reality, his most recent tome. He is the editor of Culture Wars magazine, whose slogan is "No social progress outside the moral order." Jones has been on the cutting edge of demystifying and analysing late modernity. I think we've all been aware of the turmoil in the modern world and the deepening crisis in the church. And it's very recently, in the last couple of weeks, that Archbishop Vigano, in one of his letters, came out strongly against what he called obvious errors within the Second Vatican Council. And he said, quote, "Beyond the ambiguous and discontinuous formulations was wanted and conceived for its subversive value, and which as such has caused so many evils." This also corresponds to the writings of Bishop Schneider, which identify a spirit of subjectivity and anthropocentrism within the very documents of the Second Vatican Council. And Archbishop Vigano goes further and says that the mere fact that Vatican II is susceptible to correction ought to be sufficient to declare its oblivion as soon as its most obvious errors are seen with clarity. And the historian Henry Sear wrote that the process of the convalescence and restoration of tradition would see the growth of the traditional movement, and then a key moment would be that moment when conciliar bishops in full regular communion with the Holy See, actually decry the errors of the council explicitly, and that's a moment that we seem to have reached. If his analysis is correct, then we're going to see a growing number of bishops criticising the council openly, and a move towards abandoning the conciliar project, which could be called a concordat with the modern world, or the liberal dispensation. Dr. Jones, what is the nature of the crisis in the Church today, and what relationship does it have to the Second Vatican Council?
The basis of the crisis is ignorance of history. And I'm going to include Archbishop Vigano in that indictment. Archbishop Vigano is blaming the victim here. He clearly does not understand what happened during Vatican II. He has no idea. He's barking up the wrong tree, especially about Freemasonry. He's holding Freemasonry accountable for what happened after Vatican II. Freemasons are guys, they wear fezzes and they drive go-karts in 4th of July parades. It's an obsolete revolutionary movement. Blaming Freemasons is like blaming Anabaptists for what's going on now. That's another obsolete revolutionary movement. I have Anabaptist friends. They're called Amish, and they live about 30 miles from here, and they use raw milk. Okay, this is a misunderstanding of the history of what went on, and it's an indictment. It's a kind of scandalous indictment of the 2,000 bishops who were there, who signed off on these documents, including Archbishop Lefebvre, who signed off on Dignitatis Humanae. So it's a complete misunderstanding of what happened, based on an ignorance of what really happened, and an inability to make key philosophical distinctions between the documents and the superstructure that got erected upon these documents after the council was over.
So, would you accept that those documents were engineered by modernist bishops within the modernist council fathers who were looking to insert deliberate ambiguities in order to weaponize those ambiguities after the council and bring about the birth of a new religion and discount the church's claim to be the one true religion?
No, I disagree with that. the intentions of one or two bishops cannot overturn the vigilance of 2,000 other bishops. And let's get to specifics right now. Okay, was there an attempt to overturn church teaching at the Second Vatican Council? The answer is yes. It's clearly yes. And I'm going to give two specific examples because we've dealt with them extensively at Culture Wars and Fidelity Press. So the first example, the Jews. Okay, the Jews tried to take over the Second Vatican Council document Nostra Aetate through Cardinal Bea and his assistant Malachi Martin. Okay, Malachi Martin was receiving payments from B'nai B'rith and the American Jewish Committee to basically subvert Catholic teaching. The teaching in particular was the teaching that the Jews killed Christ. The Jews didn't like that, I guess for obvious reasons, and they thought they could commandeer the council to get the church to make that, dismiss that claim. They failed. Okay, this is an important issue here. They failed to do this. This is Monsignor Higgins, who was a malevolent figure here, who was working hand in glove with the Jews, stated at the end that they failed in what they tried to do, largely because of the intervention of Leo de Poncin and his revelation of what Jules Isaac was up to. The mind of the bishops was turned away. They would not approve this. They did not approve it, and it failed. The attempt of the Jews to do this failed. Malachi Martin failed in his mission, even though he'd been paid a lot of money by the Jews to subvert the document. Vigano evidently doesn't know that. He doesn't know anything about Nostra Aetate, and the fact that he's talking about Freemasons is some indication in my mind that he's afraid to talk about the Jews, because everyone is afraid to talk about the Jews, and that's one of the major sequelae of the Vatican Council. Fear of the Jews has spread throughout the entire church up to this day. Okay? That's one. Second attempt. The CIA was heavily involved in an attempt to subvert the church's teaching on church and state. The man who was doing that was John Courtney Murray, another Jesuit. The Jesuits were up to their eyeballs in cultural subversion, so it should come as no surprise that they are the leading edge of homosexualism in the Catholic Church right now.